what we're going to do is enter into the exploration of the spirit, the soul. But part of what I deeply feel is my challenge, my calling, and now how I imaging my work, my interaction, is that there's a difference between discussing the divine and engaging in an experience of that. Part of what I really believe to be true is that we are living in such an exquisitely unique time in which we have released a comfort zone with religions. It doesn't mean we don't still feel some kind of familiarity with our religion. I know I do. But it doesn't fit anymore. Like an old style that we once thought suited us, but we know we really won't ever wear it again. But we keep it in our closet. But we know it doesn't fit. But what does fit? What is it that does fit? Where is it that we need to go? Now see, this is the undefined territory that has yet to be articulated, yet to be identified. We call it that we are seeking, but we haven't even figured out what we're seeking. And part of the nature of the search is to know, actually, to have a little bit of a sense of, what we're looking for, what we're looking at, what we are seeking. Part of what finally teaching a spiritual directions course has awakened in me is the realization, a lot of realizations, that I never articulated before. Among them, that we are seeking, but we've never actually put it to language. And there's a lot of ands here. Another is that what we have become that we have not articulated either. Now this is going to sound kind of funny, so I have to say this again. We also have to look at what we've become uncomfortable with and why. One of the things that we've become uncomfortable with is truth. We don't like to hear it. We don't like to speak it. We don't like truth very much. And curiously, the spiritual path is about truth. So herein lies a collision. Herein lies a very interesting collision. And as a result of that, we've kept the spiritual path a very mental one. Because that allows us to kind of keep it at the idea level, but not the experiential one. Are you following this? We have an anomaly that's characteristic of us, but it never existed before. It's an anomaly. We have an inner self. We speak about our inner self. And we'll say, well, my inner self tells me. And I'll say, what does your inner self tell you? Tell me what your inner self tells you. And your inner self, if you pay attention to it, always speaks more honestly than you do. So the inner self is actually something we've invented as we grew uncomfortable with truth. We manufactured a part of us that could speak the truth, but not be humiliated. It's a manufactured part of ourselves. that we invented that could represent truth because we can't speak it directly. So instead of saying, actually, this is what I'm thinking, we say, I got it on the inner, and who can argue with that? Oh, well, in that case. Well, in that case. But if you bypass that and said, you didn't get it on the inner, this is just what you want. Don't tell me that, because that's too raw and that's too honest. So it's a very, very interesting time in that the spiritual path, the real path, is about truth. And in fact, in this kind of mind, body, spirit thing, we've actually gone the other way. We've so clung to mental ideas and mental debate that the part of the truth aspect is not something we actually really look at, but it's something that needs to be looked at. Which is, where does that play a role? So that when somebody goes to what I would call their inner well and asks a question about what am I feeling? What is it I'm searching for? When all the great master teachers say, you really do know, that is the truth. You know far more than you realize. You know because it's in your spiritual nature, your spiritual intelligence, which is what we're going to talk about, to provide you with more guidance 24/7, to provide it to you all the time. So you actually are always receiving a level of inner guidance that is inherent to your biological spiritual makeup, your spiritual DNA. It's not a special treat to get guidance. It doesn't require a diet. It just really is in your nature. It's in our design. Another part that I think we need to go back to, not go back, that's not even the right word, we need to understand is our relationship to nature and the role that plays in our spiritual makeup. And by that, I don't mean that we need to go out into nature, this kind of thing. I mean that we are ourselves a product of nature. I mean that we are ourselves subject to the laws of nature, that we are not an exemption from the behavior of nature. We are not here to study and dominate nature. We are subject to the laws of nature. We are, in other words, a species, no different from any other animal. None. Zero. Which means that when earthquakes strike and storms strike, we are as likely to be taken down by those storms as any other animal that's outside. And they do not say, oh, look at those poor innocent deer, say the other deer looking at them. But we do that. We make up narratives in our heads. We make up phenomenal stories that we tell ourselves. Look at those innocent people. They didn't do anything to deserve what? To deserve that tsunami, to deserve being in the path of that earthquake, to deserve. We make up stories in our heads. Deserve has nothing to do with an earthquake. Earthquakes happen. That's the law of nature. It is about balancing nature.